Kent is off doing his own thing by bringing guest after guest at this point, and honestly, it's just repeating himself with new people. So, we're off to find new young Earthers, and, well, like father, like son, in more ways than one. And with how many times Eric has lied about money, it's only a matter of time before he truly follows in his father's footsteps.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but this week anyway, we go to Eric and his claims about the young Earth. The audio clip demon had Friday off, so we're going to bring him back into the spotlight. Ready, demon?
Absolutely!
Okay then, let's get started. Now the video we're going to look at is over a decade old, but still interesting and will be fun to make fun of.
Kinky.
Literally, I look at the best of the recent videos, and the only thing I found I debunked in a short.
Nailed it!
Young Earth creationism is really at a low point as people are just getting smarter in general. Anyway, let's get going. We're probably going to make fun of him at this point, unless he says something stupid about science, then we'll actually do something.
How old is the Earth? Is the Earth billions of years old, like the textbooks say? Or is it only 6,000 years old, like the Bible says?
First of all, it's billions. Second, the Bible doesn't say how old the Earth is.
Who cares about the age of the Earth?
Obviously you, since I don't see normal people building churches dedicated to old Earth creationism, since that's the general consensus among smart people.
Shame on you!
What? I have nothing against idiots like Eric. Without him, I wouldn't have content. The world needs stupid people, so smart people can have someone to teach.
Well, for one thing, the credibility of the book of Genesis is at stake.
Oh, Genesis has enough issues, and young Earth creationism is the least of its problems. Besides, the book starts out where Earth was already there before God started creation in the 6 days. Remember? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and void. That is before God spoke light into existence, which started the first day. So the creation days have nothing to do with how old or when the earth was created, even from a biblical standpoint.
Kinky.
Read what it says and not what you want it to say.
And can the average person read it and understand it? Or do we need some guru to tell us what it says?
Well, it seems you need a guru, Eric, since you have so much trouble actually reading.
That would be more effective.
I know, right?
And the credibility of Jesus is at stake because he quoted Genesis 25 times in the New Testament.
Well, Jesus also told his disciples to live a shitty, tormented life of suffering and anguish, saying it's a blessed life. Blessed are you who are poor. Blessed are you who hunger now, cry now. Blessed are you when people hate you, exclude you, and insult you. Personally, I have never been insulted more than by self-righteous Christians, so Jesus ain't got a fucking great track record when it comes to credibility.
And nearly every other book in the Bible refers to Genesis.
We get it. You like Genesis. Let's get to the point here.
And the evolutionists really care, because their entire theory looks pretty silly without billions of years to hide it in.
And there it is. I would more say that your young Earth standpoint looks pretty silly considering all the evidence around you, while you hide under a rock that's been around longer than you think the universe has been around.
Nailed it!
I mean, seriously, why is it that these tools open up videos without just getting to their evidence and spend so much time insulting everyone else? Maybe they just want to be hated, excluded, and insulted so they can feel blessed.
No, I don't think so.
Now, if I told you that if you kissed a frog, it would magically turn into a prince, you would say, that's a fairy tale. But did you know that is exactly what evolution teaches?
Oh my fucking... Like father, like son. Eric's daddy says this line too. But no, that is not what evolution teaches.
They teach that we started off as an amoeba, and this slowly, over millions of years, turned into a frog. Then slowly, over millions and millions of years, the frog turned into the prince.
See what I mean? Ken showed this on a recent video of his, so they're still talking about evolution like this after they've been corrected. A frog is in a completely different genus than humans. We didn't turn into a prince from a frog. Frogs and other amphibians evolved alongside humans in a different branch of evolution. Whenever I hear someone talking like this, it astounds me how absolutely dishonest people can be. This isn't even a matter of Eric being stupid. This is Eric hearing something his daddy told him, getting corrected on it, and just going back to repeating the same trash over and over. The best part is, this tree of life, it was drawn by the daddy he hates. And he still doubles down on it.
You see, if a frog turns into a handsome prince quickly, it's a fairy tale. But if a frog turns into a handsome prince slowly, well, that's modern science.
He does everything he can to try and make evolution look silly, and he has to lie about evolution to do it.
The next time you hear someone say millions and millions of years ago, stop them and ask, were you there?
And the next time a Christian tells you that Jesus rose from the dead, turned water into wine, healed a man blind since birth, and walked on water, ask them the same thing. The next time they say God created the world in 6 days and flooded the entire planet, ask them the same thing. One of us has evidence. The other has an immense knowledge of the Bronze Age.
Science is knowledge derived from observation and study. Can you observe, study, or demonstrate something that happened billions of years ago?
Yes, we can observe the evidence, study it, and gain knowledge from it. What is he observing and studying? One book with no evidence that he just claims is the truth? Come on, Eric. You're still saying shit like this today. Learn for once.
They used to teach that the sun revolves around the earth. They were wrong.
Bad choice there. It was a Christian that figured things out, and the church itself pushed back against it, not science. Scientists would have actually studied it. That's why Copernicus kept his fat mouth shut. He was taught by the priests at Krakow Academy that the Earth, and not the sun, was at the center of the solar system. He solved that the sun was at the center back in the early 1500s when he was positioned at the Collegiate Church of the Holy Cross. He had to wait until 1543, right before his death, to publish his works, knowing he would face the wrath of the church, and his works absolutely did for years to come. It wasn't until 100 years later, after people like Giordano Bruno were burned at the stake for saying that the sun was at the center of the solar system, did people finally start to accept the new understanding. This is a prime example of how dangerous these religious zealots are for intellectual progress for humanity. Eric and his daddy are both holding humanity back and teaching the worst things they can to the most vulnerable people they can.
Now let's say you went scuba diving and found a sunken boat with a treasure chest full of old coins.
Oh, we've done this one before. It's a false equivalency fallacy he is about to do, but I'll let him finish and explain after. Let's see if you catch it.
You look at one of the coins and it has a date of 1600 on it. You reach in and pull out another and it reads 1700. You reach in and pull out a third coin and it has a date of 1800. Now I'm going to ask you a simple question. When did the boat sink? You ought to be able to figure out that the boat sank after 1800. It could not have sank before 1800 because we have a coin in there from 1800. This most recently dated coin becomes the limiting factor on when the boat sank.
He is priming you for his next lie. He is priming you to think that the youngest thing we find means that the Earth is young. Where that might work for the ship, it doesn't work for the planet. Let me explain with an example. If we find a structure in a city with a cornerstone dated 1920, another dated 1953, and a third dated 1968, Using his logic, the city would have been established after 1968.
Wait, what?
Sounds really stupid, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, of course, the city would have been established before 1920, because you use the oldest date to find the age of the city. So why would we look for things that only happened recently to the Earth to get the age of the Earth? The age would be the oldest dates we find and not the youngest. Now, if you come across the same city in a complete ruins and abandoned and see those same stones, you would be able to conclude it was abandoned after 1968. And that's why he is using a false equivalency fallacy to promote his dogma.
There are numerous scientific ways to show the universe is not billions of years old. In 2011, the world's population reached 7 billion people. In 1985, there were 5 billion people on planet Earth. And in 1800, there were only 1 billion people on the planet. The world's population at the time of Christ was about 250 million people. Starting from the Bible, we see that 6,000 years ago, God created everything. 4,400 years ago, there was a worldwide flood in which only 8 people survived. And this is exactly what the evidence shows. The current population shows only 4,400 years of growth. God's word is truth.
Let's bring up the real charts that weren't made by a complete moron. The top chart is our long and distant projection, while the bottom one is the more recent and future projection. There is a lot of things in here that will reference future population projections, but we are interested in the slope and the timescales. The populations are increasing over time significantly with the progress of medicine. In short, we got better at not dying, but the population can be tracked into the tens of thousands of years, evidenced in actual human fossilization remains dating back into the 10,000 BCE. Eric's statistics rely on a constant growth rate, ignoring the effects that modern medicine had on the population back in the past 4,000 years. Once again, Eric making claims that the evidence contradicts.
Let's talk about supernova rings. When a star blows up, it creates a nova or a supernova. Astronomers have observed that about every 30 years a star dies and explodes into a supernova. There are only about 300 supernovas. Let's see, 300 times 30 equals about 9,000 years. Well, if the universe is billions of years old, how come there are less than 300 supernovas? There should be several 100 million of them. This is evidence that shows that the universe is only thousands of years old, not billions.
Oh, we have a new one!
This is amazing!
I know, right? I'm so happy to talk about this. Let's get started anyway. So Eric just gave evidence his own timeline's wrong. Yeah, he said the Earth is only 6,000 years old, but admits to 9,000 years worth of supernova remnants. So yeah, that's failure number one. Number two, if he wants evidence of previous supernova, well, you're currently standing on it. The heavier elements in the universe are the evidence, since the universe started out as just hydrogen and helium. It took stellar fusion and supernova to actually make the heavier elements your body is made out of. Everything we have on Earth originated in the heart of a star. Now, the kicker to his comments, and this is funny as hell, supernova are always spreading outward. Thus, over time, they're constantly fading out from actually being observable. Care to guess how long science estimates them fading out and becoming so scattered that they blend with the interstellar dust?
Yeah, bitch.
10,000 years. I mean, it's a little off, but only by a small amount to his estimate. And that can be caused by some of the spreading faster than others, and a ton of other reasons, like other stars being too bright to see the old supernova close to them from our observational standpoint. Still, it's fun to see him fail so badly.
They teach that it takes billions of years for a star to evolve from a red giant to a white dwarf. Well, we know this is not true. Egyptian hieroglyphs from 2000 BC describe Sirius as red. It was observed to be red as recently as 150 AD. Today, it is a white star binary. So no, it does not take billions of years for this to happen. It only takes thousands.
This one took a bit of research, mainly because it was a pain in the ass to find some information on Sirius being red at all. When I did find it, I also found that Eric was intentionally leaving out some things. And that is when China was reporting the same star as white the entire time. And first century poet Marcus Manilius describing it as sea blue, while some observations over that particular star show it was a bad omen star, giving a sign to ill fortune, and it being described as red because it's an ill omen star. That being said, there is enough history of it being described as red for researchers to try to figure out why they did, with several ideas, where it was the last years of its red giant phase or just interstellar dust. That being said, the red giant hypothesis has been rejected based in that it was not be enough time for the star to wane from red to white. The main takeaway from this is that it was observed and recorded as both red and white at the same time, and we're still trying to research why. Now, something I want to point out is Egyptian hieroglyphs from 2000 BCE. So the times of the flood of Noah, with no hieroglyphs about the flood of Noah at all. Just perfectly fine civilization has existed down there for 1,000 years, while he thinks the earth was flooding. Just kind of wanted to point that out there to him.
Well, that's not fair at all.
Look, I'm not here to be fair. Hell, I want to treat Eric unfairly. He brings up a few things we've done already, including lunar recession, which we covered in a short. Hint. For time, I'll skip over things we've already addressed.
Short period comets are losing material and have a life expectancy of less than 10,000 years. If the universe is billions of years old, why do we still see comets? They should all be gone by now.
No, they wouldn't. Not all of them. The ones that die off get replaced by new ones from places far out like the Oort cloud. But don't be dumber than Daddy, Eric. This isn't a contest of stupidity.
But this textbook says the oldest tree in the world is 4,300 years old.
Incorrect. And why are you using a 1977 textbook when Methuselah was found and sampled in 1957 and aged to 4,856 years old, which makes it older than your flood myth? Why it wasn't in the textbook is because they were trying to keep its location a secret, though now that's gotten out which tree it is, so thanks to a bit of Google foo back in 2021. Not to mention, that's not the oldest living organism. Channel favorite Pando is over 10,000 years old, older than his universe. Interesting he doesn't mention Pando. Now, unfortunately, for the rest of what he talks about, we've already debunked from him. Salt in the ocean, stalagmites, continental erosion, and the Grand Canyon, all a part of my seminar series if you want to catch up on that on my channel. In the end, for this video, Eric is just as bad as Kent. Now, who said what first, I won't speculate. What I will say is that both Eric and Kent Hovind have been educated on the facts of these matters and hand-wave dismiss all of them in favor of their own self-motivated bullshit. The Earth ain't young, and it ain't getting younger.
Alrighty, job well done.
Thank you, Demon. So, what now?
Important things.
Right, so at the time of this recording, we're about 25 subscribers away from our 500 subscriber milestone. We will be doing a 5-hour live stream in response to this, but what we're going to be doing is we'll be inviting guests on and reviewing The Ark and the Darkness together live and hosting on-the-fly debates. If you have anything from bunny ears to a fursuit, you will be able to get up on stage and on the platform. Also, at 2,000 subs, we will be driving out to Dinosaur Adventureland for the tour in full suit. Kent might freak out at that one. Let's just hope he doesn't try and steal my Jeep.
Okay, I've had one too many emotions for today.
Right, so let's get out of here.
Yeah. Bye.
I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, and remember, a little research goes a long way. Let the Fluffy Atheist do it for you.